I'm not going to let you leave him. No way. Mom's right. I can't even walk. That's what my mother-in-law and my husband told me. I married my husband, Mark, because I loved him. Even though we're not romantically involved anymore, I still care for him deeply as family. My mother-in-law could be strict, but she was never unreasonable. Mark always stood up for me. Then one day, he got into a terrible car accident. It was really bad, and he fell unconscious. While I was visiting him at the hospital and dealing with everything, I checked the car's dashcam footage. When I saw what happened, I couldn't believe it. I realized I could never forgive Mark. It felt like everything we had shared was a lie. When he woke up, now in a wheelchair, I decided to leave him. My name is Clara, and I'm 35. I'm a housewife. My husband, Mark, and I had been married for 2 years. I had been depressed for a long time after my ex-boyfriend, who promised to marry me, suddenly dumped me. I met Mark at a party that my friends insisted I attend because they were worried about me. I had started working part-time after college because I wanted to marry my ex-boyfriend. He was kind, and I thought we would build a peaceful life together. But one day, he told me he had fallen for someone else, broke up with me, and offered to pay me alimony for breaking off our engagement. I refused and left his place. My now husband, Mark, showed up at the party where my friends took me. Clara, right? I'm Mark. Your friends told me you've been going through a tough time. He asked me to talk to him because my friends had told him about my troubles. I've been scared to get close to anyone since my ex hurt me. It's been so long since I've been out at a party like this. That's understandable, but sometimes it's worth it to take the first step. I know how it feels to be betrayed. I've been there too, but don't waste time being sad. Let's just enjoy today. Something in my heart lightened when he said that. We drank and had a good time that night. Mark and I exchanged contact info. The next day, he texted me and we agreed to go for dinner. Talking with him helped me forget about my ex. After seeing Mark for a while, I realized I wasn't thinking about my ex anymore, even when I was alone. I'm happy to see you getting better every day. I'll keep doing my best to make you happy. Let's stay together, Clara. I'll never hurt you. When he said that, I knew I could trust him. We officially started dating, and life felt so happy and complete. Even though Mark was my age, he was very reliable. Whenever I had a rough day, he always cheered me up, just like when we first met. My friends were amazed at how much I had changed since I was so depressed before. After a year of dating, Mark proposed and we decided to get married. I was so excited to marry the man I loved. When we visited my in-laws for the first time, I was so nervous I couldn't stop sweating. My father-in-law was quiet, but he tried to make me feel comfortable. Mark even showed me old childhood pictures to help ease my nerves. My mother-in-law was cheerful and very direct. I don't know why you were so nervous. I'm not against you two getting married. We're family now, she said, patting my back and laughing. Her words made me feel much better. I'll teach you how to manage the house, and I'll be strict with you. Mom, Clara can do all of that herself with your advice. She doesn't need you to be hard on her. Mark laughed and defended me. My mother-in-law just smiled and said, I'm just kidding. Although my in-laws lived far away, we had a good relationship, or so I thought. At our wedding, so many of our friends came to celebrate. I was so happy I cried a lot. In the first few years of marriage, we were deeply in love. I looked forward to when Mark would come home from work every day, and I always made sure a delicious dinner was ready for him. Mark worked a lot of overtime, but no matter how late he came home, he always ate my dinner and complimented my cooking. I loved hearing him praise my meals. In my free time, I searched for new recipes and learned to cook even more dishes. During New Year's, we visited my parents' house together. My mother-in-law always taught me how to cook new things. You should buy an Instant Pot. This meat is so tender, right? Sometimes she was blunt, but often she was just trying to help. What are you doing? You need to work smarter, not harder. I wasn't used to cooking for a large group, just for Mark and me, but I took her advice seriously and learned a lot. My in-laws weren't bad people, and overall, I thought we were living peacefully. But maybe you're happy with just the two of you now. You should think about having kids soon. The only time I felt hurt was when my mother-in-law mentioned children. It's not that we don't want kids. Of course we do, but it's not that simple. My husband, Luke, and I had talked about it and decided not to pursue fertility treatments. It might have been our fault for not explaining things to my mother-in-law, but every time we saw her, she would bring up the topic of kids. "Mom, we have our own timing," Luke would say quickly when he was there. When Luke wasn't around, I just had to smile and pretend everything was fine. Sometimes I hear that my in-laws were coming over to visit. I didn't want my mother-in-law to say anything, so I cleaned the house thoroughly and cooked elaborate meals. I made sure everything was perfect. She never commented on the house, but she always brought up having children. Every time, Luke defended me. 5 years had passed since we got married. Unlike when we first married, we weren't as close as lovers anymore. But that didn't mean I didn't love him. I still did. And we had become more like family. I'm sure Luke felt the same way. No matter how late he came home, he would always eat my cooking. We never had children, but I thought we had a good relationship. I figured that no matter how old we got, we would live together in the same way. My relationship with my in-laws hadn't changed much, and we still saw each other a few times a year. The only difference now was that I could stand up to my mother-in-law a little bit more. She would always talk to me about having kids. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Now, I could joke about it a bit. My mother-in-law didn't get upset anymore. I know, but I can't help saying it. I'm sorry. She would laugh along with me. Then one day, I got a call from an unknown number. "Hello, is this Luke's wife? Your husband has been in an accident and is at the hospital. Please come right away." I was so shocked that I could barely understand what was happening. I quickly took a cab to the hospital. Coincidentally, my in-laws were visiting that week. On the way there, I called my mother-in-law. "Mom, it's Luke. It's Luke." "What? What's wrong?" "Jana, something happened to Luke. He had an accident and was taken to the hospital." I couldn't speak properly because I was crying so hard, but my mother-in-law understood immediately. She and my father-in-law were on a sightseeing trip, but they agreed to come to the hospital right away. When I got to the hospital, my husband, Luke, was in surgery. He had been driving when another car hit him from behind. The other car was speeding and hit him hard. The doctors said he was unconscious and in critical condition. I broke down in tears, but my mother-in-law reassured me, saying, "Luke will be fine. We just have to wait and trust him." I felt bad that my in-laws were so worried about me, even though they must have been feeling scared too. It took a long time, but the surgery was a success, and Luke survived. My in-laws and I cried with relief. Afterward, Luke didn't regain consciousness right away. My in-laws and I took turns watching over him, hoping he'd wake up. While my in-laws stayed at the church, I was busy handling all the accident-related stuff. The police told me Luke was the victim in the crash, and the other driver was arrested for reckless driving. However, the other driver said that Luke was also at fault. I wanted to protect my husband, so I went to the scene of the accident. The car was so damaged I thought the dashcam footage might have been destroyed, but luckily it was still intact. I took the SD card and watched the footage on my laptop. After that, I headed to the hospital to swap with my mother-in-law. Just as I was almost there, I got a call from her. "Gianna, Luke is awake." She sounded so happy. I rushed to the hospital. "Thank goodness, Luke, you're awake." When I arrived, I heard my mother-in-law's voice. Luke was talking as if he had just been sleeping. "Oh, I was in an accident. I don't remember." After hearing that, his doctor came in to check on him, and we all spoke to Luke. My father-in-law also arrived with my mother-in-law. The doctor said the surgery was a success, but they weren't sure if Luke would be able to walk again. They told us he'd be in a wheelchair for a while and would need physical therapy, but they couldn't promise he'd ever walk again. The mood in the room changed as soon as Luke heard this. "What? I can't walk." After the doctor left, Luke murmured to himself. My mother-in-law said, "We'll help you as much as we can. Let's do our best in physical therapy so you can walk again. Right, Gianna?" Instead of agreeing with her, I said, "No, I'm leaving him. I want a divorce." Everyone was shocked by my sudden response. "What are you talking about? In a situation like this, I won't let you divorce my son. You heartless woman." My mother-in-law yelled at me. Luke added, "Yeah, Mom's right. I can't even walk. How could you leave me?" My father-in-law was too stunned to speak. Then I took out my laptop and showed them a video. "What if someone finds out? Already? It's fine. We're on break. No one from the office will be around. Your wife could be watching." The video showed my husband and a young woman talking and kissing. She was wearing the uniform of the company where Luke worked. The conversation made it clear that he had been having an affair with this woman. "What is this?" my father-in-law asked, shocked. Luke stammered, No, it was just a fling. There's nothing between me and this woman." My mother-in-law was speechless, probably in shock. I stayed quiet and played the next video. "I'm not happy with my wife. We're getting divorced soon, so let's get married." "Really? Will you marry me?" In this video, Luke and the woman were giggling and making plans to get married. How disgusting. "What are you doing, Luke?" My father-in-law, who was usually calm, was now furious. "Luke, you shouldn't have cheated on your wife. Apologize to Gianna. And Gianna, please forgive him. Luke can't hurt you anymore, not with what's happened." My mother-in-law, who had been quiet until now, started to defend her son. "Well, I want you to watch something else." Then I played another video. It showed my mother-in-law and Luke. "I want to see my grandchildren's face," my mother-in-law said. "Mom, don't tell Dad, but I'm thinking about divorcing Jana and remarrying. The next one will be younger, so you'll get to see your grandchild soon," my husband Luke replied. "Oh, that sounds great, but if you cheat on your wife, she'll take all the money." "Don't worry, I'm making sure she never finds out. As long as I come home and eat, that's all that matters to Jana. She's happy as long as I eat her cooking. She doesn't seem suspicious. I'll be smart about it." "You're so clever. I can't wait to see my grandchildren," my mother-in-law said, agreeing with his plan. My mother-in-law knew about the affair and was happy that her son would divorce me to have children with a younger woman. "This is disgusting. How dare you talk like that? I don't want a son or a daughter-in-law like this," my father-in-law shouted, his face red with anger. My husband and mother-in-law looked uncomfortable, unsure of what to do. "Who's the heartless one here? I'm definitely divorcing you. Why should I help you after everything you've done? Be happy with your young lover. Goodbye." Ignoring my husband's calls, I walked out of the hospital. My father-in-law followed me. "Gianna, I'm so sorry," he said, bowing deeply. "It's not your fault. Thank you for everything. Please tell him that my lawyer will be in touch." Once I was out of the hospital, the tears I had been holding back started to flow. I couldn't believe how long I'd been deceived, but now that I knew the truth, I felt relieved to be leaving him. The divorce went through smoothly. I received a large settlement, including alimony. My lawyer told me that my ex-husband's affair was with a 20-year-old receptionist at his company. They used to meet on lunch breaks a few blocks away from the office, then go back to work separately. The accident happened while Luke was returning to his office alone. I had been suspicious of the circumstances of the accident, but after hearing what happened, it made sense. My lawyer told me that sometimes Luke and his lover would take half a day off to visit her house, and he had been very careful to keep it a secret from me. I don't think Luke ever thought it would be exposed like this. As the affair became known within the company, Luke had to quit his job, and his young lover had to leave too. She had no savings and had to borrow money to pay her share of the alimony. At the same time, my parents-in-law divorced. My father-in-law couldn't forgive my mother-in-law either. I was surprised to hear from him that my mother-in-law had rented a small apartment, and they were living separately. After Luke's accident, they couldn't afford a house that could accommodate his wheelchair, especially after paying alimony. Luke was undergoing physical therapy, but it seemed unlikely he would walk again. His young lover left him when she realized that he might never walk again. I've been living alone for a while now, and for the first time in a long time, I feel free. I'm studying to become a certified public accountant. If I pass the exam, I might be able to get a permanent job through a friend's recommendation. I'm excited about this new chapter in my life, and I'm determined to enjoy every minute of it.